皆さん、こんにちは。Welcome to Kenjimin YouTube channel. 私は上ラニーと申します。ラニー先生と呼んでください。よろしくお願いします。今日はみんなの日本語の第26課を勉強します。じゃあ、始めましょう。
Minna no Nihongo Lesson 26. Here's our table of contents. En desu ka? En desu. En desu ga. You also have here verb te itadakimasen ka? Interrogative verb tara ii desu ka? And the usage of wa instead of ga. Before we discuss the different uses of en desu, let us first discuss how to conjugate a word when we connect it to en desu. We have here the verb, i adjective, na adjective, and the noun. For verb and i adjective, we just have to conjugate it to its respective plain form. And for na adjective and noun, we also just have to conjugate them to their plain form. Only we don't use da, but we use na. Supposedly, you should be able to conjugate this to their respective plain form. So, once you already conjugate it to their plain form, you just have to add en desu. Another thing to remember is that en desu is used in a speech or spoken form, while no desu is used in writing or in a written form. Let's take a look at this example to better understand the proper conjugation. Kimasu, kurun desu. So the plain form of kimasu is the dictionary form, which is kuru, and you just have to add en desu. It now becomes kurun desu. Kimasen, that is the negative form. The plain form of this one is konai, and once you add en desu, it becomes konain desu. Kimashita, this is now the past form. For the plain past form, it becomes kita, and then you just add en desu, it becomes kitan desu. Kimasen deshita, this is the negative past form. For the negative past plain form, it becomes konakatta, and you just have to add en desu, it becomes konakattan desu. Let's take a look at the i adjective. Ureshi, which means happy. Ureshi, you just have to remove this. So once you remove this, you just go ahead and add en desu, ureshin desu, without removing any i. Next one is ureshi kunai. That is negative. So you just have to add en desu to make it to its en desu form. Ureshi kunai desu. You have to remove the i because every time we conjugate i adjective to its negative form, we remove i and adds kunai. That's why it is ureshi kunai desu. Next one is ureshi katta. Same one with this, you have to remove i when you conjugate i adjective to its past form. Ureshi katta, ureshi kattan desu. You just have to add en desu. And ureshi konakatta, that is negative past form. Ureshi konakattan desu, that is the en desu form. Now let's take a look at the na adjective example. Let's take kirai as an example. Kirai means dislike. Kirai is na adjective. So for us to conjugate it to its en desu form, we just have to add na after the na adjective. So it now becomes kirai nan desu. Kirai ja arimasen becomes kirai janai desu. Ja arimasen becomes janai because arimasen is a negative form of arimas and its plain form is nai. So it becomes kirai janai. And you just have to add en desu as if it's an i adjective and it becomes kirai janain desu. Next one is kirai deshita. It's a past form of the adjective. Kirai deshita becomes kirai dattan desu. So deshita is past form. When you conjugate it to its plain form, it becomes datta. So kirai datta, and then you just go ahead and add en desu, which it now becomes kirai dattan desu. Lastly, we have kirai ja arimasen deshita. So that's negative past form. Its plain form becomes janakatta. So kirai janakattan desu. You just have to add en desu. Now let's proceed to the noun examples. We have here sensei. So just have to add na instead of da, becomes sensei nan desu. Sensei ja arimasen becomes sensei janain desu. Sensei deshita, sensei dattan desu. And sensei ja arimasen deshita becomes sensei janakattan desu. I hope you make yourself very familiar with the conjugation of this so that you won't be confused once you use en desu. Now let's go to our first topic, en desu ka. En desu ka. When the speaker wants to confirm something which he has seen or heard. Something that you have to confirm. It means that you already have a guess in your mind and you just want to confirm if your guess is correct or wrong. Tatueba. Nureta ka sa omotte iru hito o mite. Ame ga futte irun desu ka? On seeing someone holding a wet umbrella, so you saw someone holding a wet umbrella, you already have a guess that it is raining, but you just want to confirm if you are correct. That's why you will ask, Ame ga futte irun desu ka? Ame ga futte irun desu ka? So from futte imasu ka, futte imasu, you just have to conjugate it to its plain form. It becomes futte iru. And then you just have to add en desu ka. Ame ga futte irun desu ka? You can only use en desu ka if you want to confirm something which you have seen or heard. That means you already have an information obtained and you just want to confirm if your guess is correct. Let's take a look at another example. Atarashi pasuko no katan desu ka? Atarashi pasuko no katan desu ka? Did you buy a new PC? So most probably you saw your friend using a different laptop and it looks new for you. That's when you will ask, Atarashi pasuko no katan desu ka? So you won't ask this question just out of nowhere. Just you're walking together with your friend and you will just ask, did you buy a new personal computer? Not something like that. You will ask this kind of question using en desu ka if you have gathered some information for it. So you have already a guess and you just want to confirm it. Now let's proceed to the next usage of en desu ka. When asking the listener for more detailed information about something the speaker has seen or heard. So it has something to do about things that you have already seen and heard as well. The first one, you already have a guess. You just want to confirm. This time, you're asking for more detailed information which you are not aware of. So you don't have any idea. You want to know more information. For example, 面白いデザインの靴ですね。どこで買ったんですか？面白いデザインの靴ですね。どこで買ったんですか？ Those shoes are interestingly designed, aren't they? Where did you buy them? The thing that you have seen here or heard is the shoes that are interestingly designed. That means you saw the shoes, it has a very interesting design and you became curious. You want to know more information about it. So you will ask, where did you buy them? That's when you will use en desu ka. 面白いデザインの靴ですね。どこで買ったんですか? So, not just to confirm your guess, but also to ask for more information for something you have seen or heard. For example, Itsu nihon e kitan desu ka? Itsu nihon e kitan desu ka? When did you come to Japan? Another usage of en desu ka is when asking the listener for a reason for something the speaker has seen or heard. So not just for confirming your guess, but also to ask for more information, for more detailed information. Thirdly, you use it when asking for a reason for something you have seen or heard. For example, どうして遅れたんですか? どうして遅れたんですか? Why were you late? So, you will ask this question because you saw that he or she is late. どうして遅れたんですか? Another example, どうしてエアコンのつけないんですか? Why are you not turning on the AC? どうしてエアコンのつけないんですか? Why are you not turning on the AC? So you're asking this because you enter a room, is really hot. You notice that the AC is not turned on. So you're going to ask the person which are already inside the room, どうしてエアコンをつけないんですか? Lastly, you use it when asking for an explanation of a situation. You are requiring an explanation. どうしたんですか? どうしたんですか? What's the matter? So in this kind of question, you can definitely use en desu ka. We have the 4 different uses of en desu ka. Now let's proceed to en desu. You have to remember en desu ka is a form of a question because of the ka at the end of it. Now we have en desu, which is a statement. We use it to answer or just simply giving a statement. First, when giving a reason or explanation in reply to a sentence with en desu ka. So remember, we have 4 different uses of en desu ka. Let's go back to that. We have here confirming, when the speaker wants to confirm something which he has seen or heard. So you are simply asking for a confirmation. The answer is either iye or hai. The second one, you're asking for more detailed information. So what you will receive is an information. For these 2 questions, we don't use en desu for an answer. But for this other en desu ka question, when asking the listener for a reason for something that the speaker has seen or heard. When you use this question, you have to answer using en desu. どうして遅れたんですか? どうしてエアコンをつけないんですか? And also for this one, when asking for an explanation of a situation, you answer it with en desu. Let's look at the example. どうして遅れたんですか? Why were you late? バスが来なかったんです。バスが来なかったんです。Because the bus didn't come. Because the bus didn't come. 何ですか? What's the matter? ちょっと気分が悪いんです。ちょっと気分が悪いんです。I don't feel very well. So when you're trying to give a reason or an explanation, you use en desu. You notice when you just have to confirm something, you don't use en desu. Or if you're just simply giving a more detailed information, you don't use en desu. But instead, we use en desu every time we give a reason or an explanation. If you will notice, it is almost the same as kara that we have learned during our engo. So it is very the same in their meaning. They both means because. Basu ga konakattan desu because the bus didn't come. Or you can say basu ga kimasen deshita kara. Basu ga kimasen deshita kara because the bus didn't come. But for Enyong level, we use en desu. Basu ga konakattan desu. Or chotto kibun ga waruin desu. We could say in Engo level, chotto kibun ga warui desu kara. Chotto kibun ga warui desu kara. But in Enyong level, we say chotto kibun ga waruin desu. I don't feel very well. Another thing is that when adding a reason to explain something one has just said, that means you already mentioned something and you just have to add something as reason or an explanation. For example, yoku karaoke ni ikimasu ka? Yoku karaoke ni ikimasu ka? Do you often go to karaoke? Iie, amari ikimasen. Karaoke wa suki janai desu. Iie, amari ikimasen. Karaoke wa suki janai desu. No, I don't go very often. I don't like karaoke. Or it also implies this meaning, it's because I don't like karaoke. That's the reason why I don't go very often to karaoke. So you're just adding a reason or an explanation to something that I have already said. I already said no, I don't go very often. Iie, amari ikimasen. So you don't end iie amari ikimasen with en desu. You don't say iie amari ikanai desu. Iie amari ikanai desu. You don't say it like that. You say iie amari ikimasen. And then you go ahead and give a reason. Karaoke wa suki janai desu. Or in Engo level, it means karaoke wa suki ja arimasen kara. But since we're moving on, we're now Enyong level, we use en desu. Karaoke wa suki janai desu. No, I don't go very often. I don't like karaoke. Or it's because I don't like karaoke. So that's the uses of en desu. It's very basic. You only use en desu when you are trying to give a reason or an explanation, nothing more than that. A reason or an explanation. Take note, en desu is not used when not giving a reason but merely stating a fact. Again, we have to read it over and over again. En desu is not used when not giving a reason but merely stating a fact. For example, watashi wa Rani nan desu. Watashi wa Rani nan desu. I'm just simply saying my name. In that case, I don't have to use en desu. I should just say watashi wa Rani desu. Again, we only use en desu when we are stating a reason or an explanation. Now, let's proceed to our third topic, which is en desu ga. We already have learned en desu ka, which is used for questions, and also en desu, which is used for an answer or a statement. Now we have en desu ga. When do we use en desu ga? En desu ga is used to introduce a topic when this is followed by a request, an invitation, an expression seeking permission, or an advice. So, en desu ga is used to make an introduction. We are using en desu ga to make an introduction for what? An introduction for a request, an invitation, an expression seeking permission, or an advice. For example, atama ga itain desu ga, kaite mo ii desu ka? Atama ga itain desu ga, kaite mo ii desu ka? Atama ga itain desu ga is the introduction. You are saying that your head hurts. And then you follow it with an expression seeking permission. Kaite mo ii desu ka? You are seeking permission if you can do the verb. If you can, go home. So that means, I've got a headache. May I go home? Atama ga itain desu ga, Kaite mo ii desu ka? Let's take a look at another example. Here is the introduction. Raishu tomodachi to ski ni ikun desu ga, isshu ni ikemasen ka? The introduction here is Raishu tomodachi to ski ni ikun desu ga. You're stating that next week you're going skiing together with your friends. And then you follow it with an invitation. Isshu ni ikimasen ka? I'm going skiing with some friends next week. Would you like to come too? Or would you also like to come? Sometimes what follows en desu ga may be omitted when it is obvious. Oyu ga denain desu ga. Oyu ga denain desu ga. Oyu is had hot water. Denain means doesn't come out. So there's no hot water. You can omit doshitara ii desu ka? What should I do? Doshitara ii desu ka? You can simply say oyu ga denain desu ga because what follows is obvious. You have to determine when you can omit the words, only when it is obvious. Let's proceed to our fourth topic, which is verb te itadakimasen ka. Verb te itadakimasen ka. This is a more polite way of asking for something than te kudasai. So if you already know what te kudasai means, you can already know what verb te itadakimasen ka means. It is just a more polite way of asking something. For example, Ii sensei o shoukai shite itadakimasen ka? Ii sensei o shoukai shite itadakimasen ka? Would you be so kind as to introduce me to a good teacher? Or if you will use te kudasai, it will become Ii sensei o shoukai shite kudasai. Please introduce me to a good teacher. Please introduce me to a good teacher. So with this one, still asking for that person's permission. Although you're asking for a request, you're still trying to ask if they could be so kind to do it for you. Another one is Shiryu ga hoshin desu ga okutte itadakimasen ka? I'd like some data or materials. Shiryu, would you be so kind to send it to me? Okutte is from the word okurimasu. Okurimasu means to send. Shiryu ga hoshin desu ga okutte itadakimasen ka? So we use the pattern here of en desu ga. The introduction is Shiryu ga hoshin desu ga. I'd like some data or materials. And then you follow with the request. Okutte itadakimasen ka? Would you be so kind to send it to me? So there's nothing more about the verb te itadakimasen ka. You just have to remember that it has the same meaning as te kudasai. It's just that this is more polite. Let's proceed to the fifth topic, which is an interrogative verb tara ii desu ka? Interrogative verb tara ii desu ka? Here are some of our interrogatives. We have what, nan or nani, when or itsu, where or doko, which, dore, dono noun, who, dare, how, do yatte. Interrogative verb tara ii desu ka? This is a way of asking for an advice or instruction. So when you use this one, you are simply asking for an advice. For example, doko de kamera o kattara ii desu ka? Doko de kamera o kattara ii desu ka? ABC Sutowa ga yasui desu yo. Where would be a good place to buy a camera? ABC store is cheap, you know. Okay, so you're simply asking for an advice where to buy camera. We use interrogative verb tara ii desu ka? You don't necessarily have to answer with verb tara ii desu. You can simply answer, for example, this one, ABC Sutowa ga yasui desu yo. ABC store is cheap, you know. But also you can use that as giving an advice. For example, Kokai gijido o kengaku shitai desu ga, doshita ra ii desu ka? Chokusetsu itta ra ii desu yo. Chokusetsu itta ra ii desu yo. I'd like to visit the National Diet Building. How should I go about it? You can go right there, you know. So for this example, you're asking how you should go about visiting and studying the National Building or the Kokai Gijido. You can just go right there. Chokusetsu means directly. So you can just go right there. You know, you don't have to make a reservation. You don't have to register online. All you have to do is just go there and be mindful of the time when you will go. So you just have to go right there. The listener used verb tara ides. You can use this as a way of giving an advice. Remember, interrogative verb tara ides ka is a form of a question. So if you want to make a statement, you just remove interrogative and you remove ka and it becomes a statement. As in this example, chokusetsu ittara ides. For our last topic, we have the usage of wa instead of ga. We substitute the particle ga with the particle wa. Noun as an object, particle wa, ides or kiraides, that is like, dislike. Jozu, hetades, that means good at or bad at. Arimas, we have wakarimas, and etc. For example, yoku karaoke ni ikimasu ka? Yoku karaoke ni ikimasu ka? Do you often go to karaoke? Iie, amari ikimasen. Karaoke wa suki janai desu. No, I don't go very often. I don't like karaoke. Or it's because I don't like karaoke. So from particle ga, you change it into wa. You remember when we are trying to describe an object or a noun, we use noun ga adjective. Like this one, karaoke ga suki janai desu. So in this pattern, we can always change particle ga into wa. Why? We just have to remember that particle wa is a marker of the topic. Always remember that particle wa marks the topic. You can either turn the place of an action or a direct object into the topic. So the reason why you change particle ga into particle wa is because you are trying to make it as your topic. You change karaoke as the topic of your sentence. Karaoke wa suki janai desu. Let's see that for particle de, if you want to make it or if you want to mark it as a topic of the sentence, you just add particle wa to it. We append it. We attach. So from particle de, it becomes dewa if you want to make it as the topic. For particle ni, it becomes niwa. And for particle kara, it becomes karawa. But there are an exception for this rule. We have particle ga, the one that we are talking about. We have to substitute the particle ga and turn it into particle wa. And same principle with particle o. We don't attach particle wa to particle o, but instead, we substitute it. Particle o becomes particle wa. That's why in this example, karaoke wa suki janai desu. We don't make it into karaoke ga wa suki janai desu. We remove particle ga and change it completely to particle wa. So just have remember particle de, particle ni, particle kara, and a lot more particles. You just have to attach particle wa. But for these two exceptions, particle ga and o, we change it completely. So that's all for lesson 26 of Nihongo level. Let's review the lessons that we just discussed. En desu ka? It is used for confirmation. It is used for confirmation, and it doesn't confirm with endes. We use it for asking for more information. He also doesn't answer with endes. For asking a reason, you answer it with endes. And for asking for an explanation, you also answer it with endes. We have endes. You only use it when you are giving a reason or when you are explaining. It is a substitute for kara or because. Endes ga. It is an introduction for a request, an invitation, an expression seeking permission, or an expression asking an advice. Remember, you can always remove this if you have already made it obvious. Verb te itadakimasen ka? It's just more polite. It is more polite than te kudasai. Just take note of the meaning of this word te kudasai, and you already have the meaning of verb te itadakimasen ka. You just make it more polite. Interrogative verb tara ides ka? It's used for asking an advice. Verb tara ides is used for giving an advice. Lastly, changing particle ga into wa, making it or marking it as a topic of a sentence. Ramen ga skides, you can change it to ramen wa skides.
Thank you, Fard. Once we upload the next lesson. Ja, mata na!